Hi everybody, it's Andy here again with another one of my instructional videos that I hope you're going to find helpful and informative. This one is all about how to access your feedback that I've given you on assignments that you've handed in, the wrong and right ways to carry it out, and also how to interpret the college's literacy marking guide. So, the first step to accessing the feedback that I've given you is to go to the same link on Moodle where you handed in the assignment. And I'm going to use the first assignment of the graphics unit. That's assignment 27.1 as an example. So what I've got on screen here is our course homepage. I hope you know how to get to this by now. And I'm going to navigate to the 27.1 link. So I'm clicking on the Unit 27 shortcut here. And there's the Unit 27 part of the Moodle. And there's the 27.1 link. So at this point, it's just like uploading the assignment was. And then I click on that, and it opens up a page like this. Now, you will see a different page from this. Because I'm a tutor, I don't have the same view that you have. For example, it's saying that I haven't handed in this assignment, which I haven't, and that it's 17 days and 20 hours overdue. You will see a screen a bit more like this, which you'll notice it contains some information about the upload, when it was uploaded and so on. But take particular notice here of two sections, the feedback comments and the feedback files. Now, tempting though it might be to just download the file, you want to see what I've said about your work after all straight away. It is important to read the comments section as well. This will contain important information like the date by which I need you to upload the corrections, a deadline there, and other important information as well. So always read that before you download the file. So, having read the feedback comments, you can go ahead and download the file by clicking on it. Go and try that out for yourself now with your own feedback for 27.1 and come back. I can't do that here because, as I say, I don't have quite the same view that you have. So you'll have to just try that out for yourself and see how it works there. But once you've done that, come back to the video and we'll carry on from there. Or you can carry on watching the video. As always with my videos, you can pause them, rewind and so on. So go and try that out and come back, or you can stay with us and we'll carry on. So at this point then, you've read your feedback comments, and you've downloaded the file, and it's sitting safely in your downloads folder. Now at this point, there are 2 or 3 approaches that you could take to begin carrying out the feedback ready for your next upload. For example, you could move the file into your user area and work on it there. But if you do that, you have the problem of deciding whether to replace the file that's there already, or have 2 versions of it, etc., etc. It can get very messy at that point. So I'm going to suggest a method to you now, which I call the side-by-side method, which we've found over the last 2 years is the best way to do this for the vast majority of learners. And it works like this. Leave the feedback file that you've just downloaded in your downloads folder, but open it up. Also open up your own copy of the file from your user area. So that's the one you would have sent to me. So basically open up the one you sent to me plus the one I sent back to you. And I'm going to do that now. I've got a couple ready here. So you have to imagine this is the one I've sent back to you. And this is the one that I've got in my user area. Basically the one you sent me. And this is the one I sent back to you. What you need to do then is, this is why it's called the side-by-side method. You dock them side by side. Now, I always prefer the what looks best to me is, excuse me, is the one I've sent back to you, the one with all my comments on it on the left, and the one that you sent me that we're going to work on in a second, as you'll see, on the right. But I've known a lot of learners prefer it the other way around. Either way, it's very quick to dock these. All you do is you grab the window until it's floating like this, and then you go as far to the side as you can, and it docks. And the same with the other one, like that, so they are side by side. And this is why it's called the side-by-side method. So having docked them like this, the idea is, and the way the side-by-side method works, is that you look at my feedback on the left or right, depending on which you prefer, but you carry it out on the other side. This way you don't need to delete any of any of these text boxes or any of the highlighting that I've given you. You can just do the work on the other side, and then the one you'll upload, of course, will be this one. This one, the whole of this time, then can just stay quite happily in your downloads folder. If you have to get it again, if you do the feedback over 2 sessions and don't do it all in one go, it's in your downloads folder. It's quite happily in there. So there are other ways of doing this, but try this one out. We have found it over the years to be the best. So having docked them, then you've got the one is sent back to you in your downloads folder still, where you downloaded it. No need to move it. No need to waste any time moving it around. Just leave it there. This is the one from your user area. In this case, this will be in my Unit 27 folder. And you're ready to start working on the corrections and suggestions that I've sent to you. And you can see from the work, from previous work from last year here, there are a variety of different types of feedback that I'll leave you. There's some feedback in text boxes, which is basically about the content of your work and how well you've met the criteria that were available in this assignment. There's also a lot of little boxes with things like P and WW and SS in them as well. Now these refer to the college's literacy marking scheme or literacy marking guide, which looks like this. So here we have the college's literacy marking guide. There's postcard-sized copies of this available if you ask me for them, and there's also posters on the wall of the computer room with the literacy marking guide on as well. So you need to grab yourself a copy of that, and the comments I've made then on the feedback comments I've made on your work will make a lot more sense. So study that for a few seconds there, or grab a copy of it, or find yourself a poster, and then we'll go back to the side-by-side view of the work that we had just now. So here it is now. So I've got my side-by-side view back again. I've got my literacy marking guide in my hand, and I can see that things like P, for example, referring to the guide, means punctuation. And you see nearby to the box, nearby every box, there is some highlighted text or an arrow pointing at something, or both in the case of this one here. So they'll either be, the box will either be near some highlighted text, or it'll be pointing at a piece of text, or a little bit of both. And you can see here, there's a P next to this word softwares, and that's telling you that there's a punctuation problem with that word there. In fact, what it is that the apostrophe there has been used to make the plural, which is incorrect. The apostrophe is not required there. The idea then is you look at the comments I've made over here on the left. I've got them that way around, but you correct it on the right. Much quicker. You don't have to delete any of the work, any of these boxes, or any of this highlighting at all. You just make all of the corrections over here. There is actually still some problems with that, which I probably pointed out on maybe a later draft. It's still grammatically incorrect, but with the first drafts, quite often it's just the very obvious errors that I'll point out to you. Same with hardwares there. So I look at the again, there's a punctuation error there with hardwares. The correct grammar there would probably be there are many pieces of software available. But even with the literacy marking guide, it's not always easy for tutors to point out everything. But you just try and if you carry out the feedback that's been sent to you, then your second draft will be a much better one than your first. If we look down over here on the left again, we've got WW, and if you look at your literacy marking guide, that means wrong word. It's not misspelt as such, because obviously the letter A is a word in the English language, but it should be an, drawn an image. So again, I'll go over here and I'll correct that. SS, if you look at your literacy marking guide, it means sentence structure. So basically that just means it's worded incorrectly, it's worded badly. Digital cameras is used that stores images digitally. So you go over here and correct it to something like digital cameras are used to store images digitally. You'll also see boxes like this one that are asking you to just add something or make some corrections of some kind that are not really literacy, but are improvements that need making to the work. So for example, this one, it says add something about how this device is particularly important in digital graphics. And if you've made that error a lot, I won't necessarily point it out every single time. I'll say check whole document for this too. Let's have a look at some of the other boxes here. There will be, I'll try and as much as I can give some positive feedback as well as constructive criticism. For example, here this student has created a very good header and page numbering at the bottom as well. Page numbering. He hasn't used heading styles though at this point, so I've suggested that heading styles are used to produce an automatic navigation system. If you're not sure about that or any of your feedback, just let me know. Nice intro there as well. I've suggested there. Generally I'll highlight things with yellow, as you've seen in the top half of the page here. If you see red, that's my code for that I've spotted that this is some part of the work that you've just copy and pasted word for word from the internet. So I've put a box here, unreferenced material from the internet. You must rewrite this material or reference it at the end of the report. This is potentially a very serious issue of plagiarism, and you must be more careful in future. And again, I maybe won't check the whole of the document for that. That's up to you. Check rest of document for this. Let's move on down and see what else he's got. Again, a bit of good feedback there, positive feedback, good level of language for the audience. If you remember in 27.1 this had to be written for beginners, so he's used a good level there. Again, there's some unreferenced material there again. Some feedback there about the description of monitors as something, they're more than just something that you can you see what you're doing on. So there's a suggestion there, a recommendation, a requirement to fix that. If you look down here, there's something that looks like an upside down V. That means missing word. And again, like all the feedback I give you, it'll be near some highlighted words. And it tells you in this case that there should be a word between the words hardware and the word inside. So you might have to read the whole sentence to work out what it is. When doing graphics work, it's important for the person to understand what types of hardware, the missing word is R there, what types of hardware are inside computers. C is capital. See this one down here? That should be capital P, capital C. A single tick there means well-written piece there. That paragraph is well-written, even though it may have literacy errors in it. And again, a good level of language for the audience. A double tick means very well-written. And then you can see some of them start repeating themselves there. We see SS again and missing word. Capital over here. And you see each text box is near a bit of highlighted text. So if you see a bit of highlighted text, look for a box nearby it and vice versa, and you shouldn't have any trouble working out what to do. And the idea then is you go over to the right-hand side or the other side and make your corrections on this piece of work, which of course is still in your file store in your user area. So there's no need to mess around with having two copies of things or having to decide whether to save one copy over the other. Just a side-by-side method cures a lot of those kind of decisions and means you don't have to make them at all. So it's up to you then just to do the corrections, carry out every single correction. Make sure you do all of them before you upload again. Otherwise, I'll just throw it back at you saying they haven't all been done. There'll be no other feedback other than that if you don't carry out all the corrections, every single one that's in the first set of feedback that I give you. If you do that, there's every chance there won't be a second file sent back to you. They'll just be in the feedback comments. It'll just say, well done, you've passed this assignment, you've got the criteria. So get into good habits right from early on. Do the corrections, upload again by the deadline that I've given to you in the feedback comments, and do the very best you can. So I hope this video has helped you understand how to access your assignment feedback, the right and wrong ways to work on your corrections, and how to interpret the college's literacy marking guide. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you on the next video.